Mangwanani malelepo vukenjani class vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything happening on the African continent and of course beyond. It is a Monday morning and you're joined by Ashwin Berry and Aina Raizakweya.
Mangwanani, now here are the top stories this morning. Step in the bag. Putin explodes as Wagner Group stages mutiny. Uganda plans to raise the drinking age to 21. Nigeria's displacement camps overwhelmed amid closure. You can follow Africa Good Morning on our website, which is called Oneuptwo. You can also watch it on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV 25 in Namibia. Later on in the show, we have Talen Gore and Ari Khoukhad. Stay with us.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
Here are the top stories. Stab in the bag. Putin exploded as Wagner Group stages mutiny. Chief of the rebel Wagner mercenary force will go to Belarus and will not face charges after calling off his troops' advance on Moscow, the Russian government said, easing the country's most serious security crisis in decades. The feuds between Wagner chief Prigozhin and Russia's military brass came to a violent head, with his forces capturing a key army headquarters in southern Russia on Saturday and then heading north to threaten the capital. Within hours, Prigozhin's about face, the Kremlin announced that he would leave the Belarus and Russia would not prosecute him or Wagner members. It had been a dramatic day, with President Vladimir Putin warning against civil war, Moscow telling locals to stay off the streets, and Kyiv reveling in the chaos engulfing its enemy. Now, Prigozhin, who has feuded bitterly with Moscow's military leadership, even as his outfit led parts of Russian-Ukrainian offensive, said he understood the importance of the moment and did not want to spill Russian blood.
Now, the Ugandan government has announced plans to increase the legal drinking age to 21, and this is from the age of 18. Now, the World Health Statistics 2023 report ranks Uganda among the leading countries for high rates of alcohol consumption. According to the WHO report, it is estimated that Ugandans currently consume 12.2 liters of alcohol per person annually, which is significantly higher than the global average. Research has shown that if someone has not taken an addictive substance by 21, they are much less likely to use addictive substances later in life. Dr. Hafsa Lukwata, the Ministry of Health Commissioner for Mental Health, Alcohol and Substance Abuse, told the BBC. There has been a public outcry over substance abuse in young people, Dr. Lukwata added. She said that Parliament will discuss the age limit, among other measures, in the soon-to-be-presented alcohol control bill.
Nigeria's displacement camps are overwhelmed amid closure. Camps for people fleeing jihadist conflict in southern West Nigeria have become overwhelmed after authorities closed dozens of the sites over the past years to try to prompt families to return home. For Aisha Osman, who is among those displaced by violence, the situation has made it harder and harder to feed her large family. For 8 years, Usman and her husband and their 9 children have lived in informal camp of El Miskin, home to around 7,200 displaced people in the Borno state capital of Maiduguri. They put us all in one place. We are sitting under trees doing nothing. It's like we are in jail, she said. Yet for Usman, there is no question of returning to Gradai, a village located 200 kilometers away. In 2014, Boko Haram jihadists attacked their family's house and killed her neighbors before her eyes. One of her children was kidnapped and never returned.
Truly disheartening. Now moving on to the next story. A methane gas explosion in a disused South African mine killed 31 people, and this was last month and was believed to be from neighboring Lesotho. South Africa's Energy Department said on Friday. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy had said late on Thursday that South Africa was investigating the deaths which occurred in a ventilation shaft in the shuttered Virginia mine in Free State Province. The DMRE said an investigation into the incident with the help of Harmony Gold, the previous owner of the mine, which ceased operations in the 1990s, determined that methane levels were very high in the ventilation shaft and an explosion had occurred.
Ghanaian disrupt parliament over sanitary pads, Texas. A group of protesters attempted to storm Ghana's parliament on Thursday as they demanded the removal of taxes on sanitary pads. Security officers stopped the protesters, who were clad in red and holding placards, and made them together at the entrance of parliament. They were chanting we want free periods, don't tax my pad, and their presence disrupted parliamentary activities for a while. The group said the government should remove 20% import tax and 12.5% value-added tax on sanitary pads, which have made them too expensive for the people. The high cost of sanitary pads, according to campaigners, is causing absenteeism among schoolgirls and hygiene issues for the rural poor. However, the Association of Ghana Industry has warned the government not to scrap the import taxes.
All right, that brings us to the end of our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Now, on August the 23rd, Zimbabwe goes to elections, and the ruling party ZANU-PF, as well as the main opposition CCC, officially launched their manifestos. We'll be talking to Talent Gore about that and more after the break.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, Oneuptwo.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
All right, so we're about to talk to Talent Gore in Zimbabwe, and in the first story we're going to be talking about the elections, which are slated for August 23. The developments last week were mostly about people putting in their nominations. Robert Chapman dropped out. I don't think money was an issue. Why would have money been an issue? $20,000 is what was required for you to be able to register to become a presidential candidate in the upcoming election. And now ZANU-PF and CCC have launched their manifestos, and there's no one better to take us through it all than Talent Gore. Good morning, Talent. Take it away.
Good morning, Astrid. Good morning, Aina. Good morning, Africa. So the ruling party ZANU-PF and opposition Citizens Coalition for Change, CCC, on Saturday launched their election campaign Currently, for ZANU-PF, it went ahead and launched its campaign in Chipinge, whilst Nelson Chamisa, the president of the opposition party, launched the campaign in South Africa. So now many people are saying that how can he go to South Africa and launch the campaign there when the electorate, when the voters are in Zimbabwe? There's no way that who are in South Africa are going to come and vote for him. So people are saying that we're now starting to think that what Chamisa did this time around was not right. He was supposed to do his election campaign, to launch his election campaign here in Zimbabwe and not South Africa. As for ZANU-PF, it successfully launched its election campaign in Chipinge, and there were thousands and thousands of people were there, and the ZANU-PF, it was a success, and they are ready to start campaigning, and they're hopeful that they're going to win this coming election.
All right, now Talent, moving over to your next story. A presidential candidate, Linda Masirira, sues ZEC over rejected nomination. Tell us about this.
Yes, apparently Linda Masirira is a woman who was wanted to be a presidential candidate, and she's the leader of the opposition Labour, Economists and African Democrats, and she has taken the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to court for rejecting her nomination papers on Wednesday after she to raise the required 20,000 fee. Apparently, Linda went to the nomination courts with the local currency, and it was rejected by the courts. They saying to the US dollar, she had paid 153 million Zimbabwean dollars. So they say that it was not enough, and they rejected her trying to pay in another currency, or rather trying to use another form of payment, and they refused that payment. So now she has taken the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to the courts, and she's requiring that, and she is seeking the court to declare the decision by the presiding officer null and void. And she also wants the court to declare her validly nominated as presidential candidate to enable her to contest in August 23 polls. So as it stands, the courts haven't made a decision as yet, but she has sued ZEC.
Well, I'm no genius or anything, Talent Kore, but if a Namibian was using Namibian dollars to be nominated, that would be natural. If an American was using US dollars, that would be natural. I wonder why it is unnatural for a Zimbabwean to use Zimbabwean dollars. What is natural is the ecstatic atmosphere every single time one finds themselves at a Zimbabwean cricket match. I managed to see some of the visuals this last weekend. It was absolutely stunning as Zimbabwe managed to pip the West Indies. Tell us about that update from the Chevrons.
Yes, it was such a beautiful day on Saturday when Zimbabwe beat West Indies by 35 runs. Zimbabwe continued with their brilliant start to the 2023 Men's Cricket World Cup qualifiers after beating the West Indies by 35 on Saturday at Harare Sports Club. After being set in to bat first, the Chevrons were bowled out for 268 runs, 9.5 overs, before going on to restrict the West Indies to 233 all out in 44.4 overs. Apparently, this is the third game that Zimbabwe has won so far, and they are now on top in their group stages. In Group A, they are now on top of the table. And as you all know, Zimbabwe is hosting the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup qualifiers 2023, and there are 10 teams who are battling out with only 2 spots available for the World Cup, which is going to be played in India later this year. So we have Sri Lanka, we have USA, we have Nepal, we have Oman, we have West Indies, we also have Netherlands and Ireland, who are in Zimbabwe right now for the ICC World Cup qualifiers. So Zimbabwe is having such a good game as they are the host, and they are also at the top of the table in their group stages.
Absolutely, and beating a team like West Indies, which has the legacy of people like Brian Lara and has actually won a World Cup, is absolutely sensational. And something else to note is that this was the most largely attended cricket match of all time in Zimbabwe, with 21,000 fans, and apparently 10,000 couldn't get in. And that's how that atmosphere was. Thank you very much, Talent Gore, for bringing us the news stories from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good to have you on Africa. Good morning. Let's head to the weather predictions before we come back with economic news.
In economic news this morning, Kenya urges review on strict global rules for Africa debt. Kenya's President William Ruto has asked the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to reduce stringent measures on loans granted to African countries to ensure fair access of resources. Africa does not want anything for free, but we need a new financial model where power is not in the hands of a few, Master Ruto said. Now, Master Ruto, who spoke when he met with French President Emmanuel Macron, IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva, and World Bank President AJ Banga in Paris on Thursday, urged world leaders attending the new Global Financial Pact Summit to support his call. Master Ruto's administration received $600 million from the IMF in the autumn and winter of 2022. It also got $993 million from the World Bank in May to help government fund the budget.
Yes, it was quite interesting watching that occasion. It really looked like President Cyril Ramaphosa, Hakainde Hichilema, and William Ruto were the economic avengers, if you will, of Africa over the weekend. And this is how it panned out for Zambia. Zambia and its government creditors, including China, have reached a deal to restructure $6.3 billion in loans. The French government announced on Thursday on the sidelines of a global finance summit in Paris. The agreement covers loans from countries including France, the UK, South Africa, Israel, and India, as well as China, Zambia's biggest creditor, at $4.1 billion of the total. The deal, announced by officials who spoke anonymously in accordance with the French government's customary practices, may provide a roadmap for how China will handle restructuring deals with other nations in debt distress. The International Monetary Fund approved the deal, meaning it's going to allow Zambia to receive more financing from the institution, the French said. Stay with us as we head into economic indicators just before we dive into sport. All right, exciting sports weekend, and Ari Hochad is here to break it all down for us. Ari, take it away.
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin and Aina. Nice to talk to you on this Monday. Yes, for a change, it's not lots of soccer, so our stress levels are quite down, Ashwin, because of that. So let's start with some of the golf news first. It was the PGA, the women's PGA on the sponsored by KPMG. That was finished early morning, Southern African time, and it was Ryu Nong-ying. She's from China. She won the tournament. She's just 20 years old, and she won also the LA Open earlier this year. So a great performance by Ryu Nong-ying from China. Everybody might be wondering what happened to Leanne Pace. Leanne Pace was just 2 shots off the lead going into the third round. She's from South Africa, but fell away with a 5 over par score of 76. Unfortunately, so she went down all the way to tied for 30th in this tournament. On to rugby news, it is the Cheetahs that won the Currie Cup. So that was the final played in Bloemfontein, and that's the action, the Cheetahs playing against the Pumas. It's 25-17 the score, the final score. It was their 7th title, so it was good for the Currie Cup in terms of all the big franchises not making the final. Of course, they focused more on other competitions as well, but it was a good result. The Cheetahs beating the Pumas in the final 25-17. And then the Crusaders, that's all the way across in New Zealand. The Crusaders beat the Chiefs. That was in the Pacific Super Rugby final, and they beat them by 25 points to 20. Their 7th straight title, and Scott Robinson, the coach, going on to coach the All Blacks from this onwards now. MotoGP news, it was Francesco Bagnaia. He's from Italy. He won the TT Essen MotoGP. That was in the Netherlands. He just beat Marco Bezzecchi. He's also from Italy. Both driving on racing on a Ducati. Tough day for Brad Binder. He finished 3rd on the race, but was put down to 4th because he exceeded track limits by just 1 or 2 inches. So that was quite a frustrating day for Brad Binder. Finished 4th in the end, 3rd on the track. So disappointing result in the end there for Brad Binder, but he's still 4th on the points table. General classification, so doing well for Southern African interest. Closing off quickly with the tennis news, 2 tournaments played on grass is leading up to Wimbledon coming up on the 3rd of July. Carlos Alcaraz, he announced that he can also play on clay. He's from Spain. He beat Alex de Minaur. There he is in action. He beat him 6-4, 6-4 to win the Queen's tennis tournament, so that's a good preparation for him for Wimbledon. And then Petra Kvitova, she's from Chechnya. She beat Donna Vecti. That is Petra Kvitova. She beat her in the German Open by 6-2 and 7-6 to win that title. So that's all the sports news for this day, and I hope you have a great sports week. And we talk again international sports tomorrow. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Ari. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with the highlights.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry, with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
All right, let's get into the highlights from this morning's broadcast. Stab in the back, Putin explodes as Wagner Group stages mutiny. Uganda plans to raise drinking age to 21. Nigeria's displacement camps overwhelmed amid closures. And Kenya urges review on strict global rules for Africa debt.
Thank you very much for watching our show on this beautiful Monday. Please be reminded that we do welcome your remarks regarding our show. You can post them on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Africa Good Morning screens on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV channel 25 in Namibia. We also have a website which is called Oneuptwo. You can visit us on there. And on that note, it's all our love, all our light, and happy Monday.
Sera Shakanaka.